Hello everyone. The topic which we are going to discuss today is hormones, types and its mechanism of action. So first we should know what are hormones. Now before we start, we all know what are hormones, or many of us are familiar with the term, isn't it? So we can say hormones are chemical substances secreted by some specialized glands of the body called endocrine glands. These glands are ductless, that is, they are devoid of ducts and release their secretions directly into the blood. The major endocrine glands are the hypothalamus, the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, pineal, and the reproductive organs, the ovaries and the testes. Now, what and how do the hormones travel? Hormones travel through the blood and influence the activity of other glands and organs, producing short as well as long-term changes. Hormones regulate body's growth, metabolism, that is the various physical and chemical processes of the body, sexual development and functions. Coming to the classification of hormones, hormones can be subdivided into three main classes. The first kind, the protein and the peptide hormones, example the insulin, glucagon, etc. The second one, the steroid hormones, the estrogen, progesterone, cortisols, and many others. And lastly, the amines or the amino acid derivative hormones, the adrenaline, non-adrenaline, etc. Coming to the mechanism, how they work. A hormone can only influence cells that have a specific target receptors for that particular hormone. Those cells are called the target cells. From the picture, it is clearly seen that there is a target cell and there is a non-target cell. Now we call a target cell target because it has receptors attached to it, while a non-target cell do not have any receptors. Hormones affect distant cells by binding to the specific receptor proteins in the target cell, resulting in a change in cell function. When a hormone binds to the receptor, it results in the activation of the signal transduction pathway. So we should know what are receptors and hence the receptor concept. Receptors are molecules that bind to a specific hormone. All receptors are hormone specific. They are a wide family of proteins. In other words, a hormone can only work when it binds to the receptor to give rise to a hormone receptor complex. On the basis of the receptors, hormone can be divided into two main classes, the receptor for peptide hormone or the cell surface receptors and receptors for steroid hormones that are usually found within the cytoplasm. The hormonal interactions that takes place in the body can be of three different types. First is the synergistic, that means the hormones enhance each other's actions. The second one is the permissive, that is, it permits the action of another hormone. And antagonistic, the ones that act in opposition. Upon hormone binding, the receptor can initiate multiple signaling pathways which ultimately leads to changes in the behavior of the target cells. Coming to the mechanism of action of peptide hormones. Now we know the peptide hormones, the receptor for the peptide hormones are present on the surface. So it acts by transmitting signals by binding through a second messenger system. Now what are second messengers? Second messengers are nothing but molecules inside the cell that acts to transmit the signals from the receptor to the target. The steroid hormone. The steroid hormones are fat soluble and as a result they can move through the plasma membrane of the target cell to act within the nuclei. In the picture we can see a steroid hormones entering the cytoplasm, attaching itself to the receptor, forming a hormone receptor complex, traveling to the nucleus, and giving a cellular response. I hope this topic, which is discussed here, will be beneficial for you, and I stop here with a very big thank you for your patient listening.